So Mark, tell us a little bit about the documentary that you're working on currently, which is The Power of Two. Is that correct?
Yes, The Power of Two, sure. Well, The Power of Two is inspired by the life stories of twin sisters. Their names are Annabelle and Isabel Stenzel. They're currently 38 years old, and they live in the San Francisco Bay Area, where I live in San Francisco, so we're sort of neighbors. Anna and Isa they've lived their whole lives with a genetic lung disease, cystic fibrosis. And cystic fibrosis is a pretty devastating disease. And by and large, most folks actually, they try to manage it with treatment for as many years as they can. But the only real solution for cystic fibrosis, or CF, is a double lung transplant. So Anna and Isa have both had double lung transplants. And the documentary really brings a memoir that they wrote, also called The Power of Two, to screen. And it also kind of chronicles their journey moving from patient to advocate. So they have opted in for a very public journey and have become advocates of organ donation awareness around the world. And so the film is really looks at them, their life stories. They're the centerpiece characters, and all the wonderful people that they meet along the way.
So you said a little bit that you're neighbors. How exactly did the collaboration, you working, was this a topic that you had interest in initially, or was it something that kind of came up organically?
Well, that's actually a really good question. I would say organically. And so first of all, I did not have a personal connection to organ donation or transplant. I got to know one of the twins' husbands. So Isa is married to a guy called Andrew. And Andrew Burns and I knew each other in the San Francisco Bay Area through philanthropic work. I got a cold call from Andrew out of nowhere in the spring of 2009 telling me that his wife and his sister-in-law had a book, when I kind of knew about the book, but not very much information. They had this book that was being republished in Japan, and there was going to be this book tour in Japan, and that there might be an opportunity to collaborate with organizations in Japan to turn this into something really substantial. So I read the book, and the book is incredibly moving. They actually are co-authors, and they write in very distinct voices. It's like sort of a co-authored memoir. Mm-hmm. And I thought, wow, this is an incredibly inspiring story. I had always wanted to shoot abroad in an Asian country, so I thought, why not, sort of dive in, head and feet first, and just step up for this opportunity. The timing was fantastic for me professionally. I was available. And Andrew and I came together, and we set some goals, and the first production cycle in Japan unfolded in October 2009. So this was one of those kind of magical, creative opportunities that sometimes lands in your life, and I had to grab at it.
Okay, so Dan, as an Akron native and an attorney, how exactly do you hook up with an Academy Award nominated producer from San Francisco? How does this collaboration happen, and how long has it been in the process?
Very organically, actually. And as many attorneys, I happen to have a special relationship with another attorney who is an associate at the law firm where the executive producer of this film, Andrew Burns, is a partner. And so we attended a fundraiser in the fall in the Bay Area for The Power of Two, and I had heard a little bit about it at that point. Andrew had just been to Japan and was out for a bit, so I was aware of that because my girlfriend Danielle and he worked very closely together, and I'd heard here and there about this project, but really didn't know anything until I attended this event and heard from Mark, heard from Andrew, heard from Anna and Isa, and was really incredibly moved by their story. There were resources that I started thinking about, and immediately what came to mind was this community here that I grew up in, and a few people in particular who, for various reasons, I thought would be compelled by the story. And everyone I spoke with seemed to be, these were folks who had not seen the amazing multimedia presentation that I had seen with the subjects of the film in the room, but just hearing about it, they thought, this was a project worth pursuing and worth supporting.
The thing about producing documentaries is that you have to kind of seize opportunities when they present themselves. So Dan is sort of a talented professional who was available, who had some great ideas, and he approached us based on getting excited by what he saw at an event that we produced. And that's how the good stuff happens in moving a project forward. My job as a producer is to be open to those opportunities and to seize upon them when they present themselves. You know, I've never been to Ohio. You know, I'm 41 years old and never been to your fair state. But I was happy to, take the leap and see what we could do here. I think the thing about organ donation is that because it is such a truly mainstream issue, that I felt that if we could come to Akron, where I have no connection, I have no history, where Dan has, a connection in history, and someone else could be the messenger of my project, that would be a good test case for us to see if this story and this endeavor would resonate, with an unconnected community to the project. Mm-hmm. Obviously, when we do this in San Francisco, we have a lot of interest. I'm there for 20 years. I have an Academy Award nomination for The Weather Underground. People know my work. But it was an incredible weekend here just to see that we were able to touch people and get them to think. So we had a number of events. Some of them were for fundraising and some of them were for community building. But I will share that one of the most interesting events for me was done at the Akron Art Museum with the Akron Film Organization. Mm-hmm. A small number of 15 filmmakers came to sort of talk about their projects and get some input and advice from me on how to produce, how to move a project forward. And I was very impressed with the kind of stories that people are, endeavoring to produce here in Akron. Mm-hmm. Local stories that are truly inspiring and have, upon first hearing them, have, great potential for television and for film festivals and for other distribution channels. And stories that are not just local, but that I think would be interesting for, a broader national audience. Mm-hmm. And it was just a great reminder to sort of see that local communities all around the United States have vibrant filmmaking professionals, great arts and culture scenes, and Akron is probably one of many, many cities of this size where the power of two could connect with respect to film, and hopefully with respect to philanthropy, and hopefully with respect to organ donation. So those are kind of the three reasons we were here this weekend. I think we achieved all three.
All right, so now we're actually going to take a second. We're going to look at the trailer, and you're all going to see what we've been talking about. And it's fascinating, and do not go anywhere.
It was like suffocating. My body couldn't adjust to it.
Every hospitalization they experienced when they were young, I felt like I did something wrong.
And it was very stressful for both of us, primarily the fear that one of us would be left alone. I really consider it a miracle that lungs became available. I realized that us going to Japan is going to be a small part of a larger movement. It was a miracle to me. Never expected it. Never expected to deteriorate that quickly, and I never expected to be resurrected like that. That's my transplant story. Wouldn't be here without Jane's, and I wouldn't be here without my second donor, and I've gained 10 years of the best, most fabulous party of my life because of them. And we're still together, yes.
Famous Miracle Twins.
Konnichiwa. The way that Japanese culture deals with death and transplant and organ donation is very different from us. So even if somebody is not receptive to the idea of organ donation, if they were to at least see people who've received the gift of life and see the power of being truly alive, and if that sense of being truly alive and grateful for being alive can spread a little bit, that to me is reason enough. We're not going to live forever. But we have this incredibly wonderful life, hopefully for years and years and years, and give back to society while we have been saved, contribute to the world in our own unique way. That's what I hope to convey.
I want to go home.
Hey, that was cool. You like art in the art hallway.
If you'd like to see more of us, check us out at artsquesttv.com.
I'd be horrified
If someone actually did.
if you did.
And you can go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/artsquesttv.
Again, horrified if you did.
Want to follow me on Twitter, you could go to twitter.com/ToddVO. Again, she'd be horrified if you did. Thanks for watching.